Hey there, my web-slinging alien symbiote gamers. Today we're diving into a game that turned the streets of New York into a superhero battleground like no other. Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. Stick around as we unravel the high-flying, web-slinging action that not only captivated comic fans, but also left a mark so deep it could only come from the fangs of Venom himself. When the Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage swung onto the scene, it wasn't just another day at the office for developers at Software Creations. The project was a daring leap, powered by a desire to do something that hadn't been done before in superhero video games, a direct comic book to game adaptation. The development team was fueled by the fiery pages of the 1993 Maximum Carnage comic series, aiming to transfer the narrative intensity directly into a video game. Under the helm of producer Tony Harmon and a passionate team, the development wasn't just about translating comic panels into pixelated actions, but capturing the essence of Spider-Man and Venom's universe. This task required meticulous attention to detail. The game's graphics were pioneering for the time, using digitized versions of actual comic drawings, a method that preserved the authentic comic aesthetic. This decision alone set Maximum Carnage apart from its contemporaries. However, the game's development was not without its hurdles. Integrating detailed comic book art into a 16-bit console game brought significant technical challenges. Memory limitations of the game systems at that time meant that the team had to innovate relentlessly to ensure that the vibrant red cartridge, which, by the way, was a marketing masterstroke, didn't just look good on the outside, but was packed with action on the inside. The developers, including lead programmer John Pickford, faced the daunting task of not only creating engaging gameplay, but also maintaining a storyline fidelity that could satisfy the hardcore fans. The result was a game that didn't just allow players to fight as Spider-Man or Venom, but also invited them to experience the storyline as it unfolded in the comics, complete with guest appearances from other Marvel characters, enhancing both narrative depth and replay value. Our story kicks off with the escape of the nefarious Carnage from Ravencroft Institute, a high-security psychiatric hospital. Carnage, the symbiote-infused serial killer, Cletus Cassidy, quickly begins assembling a gang of supervillains, setting the stage for a citywide spree of terror. Enter our heroes, Spider-Man and anti-hero, Venom. Traditionally adversaries, they unite against the common threat posed by Carnage's chaotic and destructive ambitions. The game excels not only in portraying their reluctant alliance, but also in integrating a rich ensemble of characters from the Marvel Universe. Players encounter a variety of allies, such as the agile Black Cat, each bringing their unique abilities to aid in the battle against Carnage. The dynamic between Spider-Man and Venom is particularly compelling. Spider-Man's sense of responsibility and Venom's more aggressive tactics provide a contrast that adds depth to their partnership. This duality is not just thematic, but is woven into the gameplay, offering players alternating control between the web-slinging hero and the powerful anti-hero, each with their distinct fighting styles. The game's portrayal of Carnage is particularly noteworthy. He is not just a villain to defeat, but a character driven by madness and a deep connection to his symbiote, which is depicted through his relentless and brutal actions throughout the game. This level of character complexity was a significant leap forward in video game storytelling, especially from a title based on comic book content. As players navigate through waves of enemies and iconic locations from the comic series, they are treated not only to a game of beat-em-up action, but also to a chapter-by-chapter unfolding of a dramatic narrative that stays true to its roots. This adherence to the source material not only satisfies comic book fans, but also elevates the gaming experience, making every punch thrown and every building swung from feel integral to the unfolding story. Now as we swing deeper into Maximum Carnage, let's get a grip on the gameplay mechanics that make this beat-em-up a standout title in the superhero genre. The gameplay of Maximum Carnage is a delightful mix of traditional beat-em-up elements infused with the unique abilities of Spider-Man and Venom. Players navigate through multiple levels, each brimming with goons from Carnage's villainous crew. What sets this apart isn't just thwacking and brawling, it's how each character's powers are translated into gameplay. Spider-Man uses his agility and web-slinging skills to maneuver around enemies and trap them, while Venom brings the brute force, tossing enemies aside as if they were ragdolls. Here's a fun slice of the action. As you're weaving through the chaos, remember that smashing that like and subscribe button is just as satisfying as landing a web shot on one of Carnage's goons. Quick, do it now before Carnage escapes again. But let's not get too distracted, back to the mechanics. The game introduces a variety of special moves and combos that require specific button inputs, adding depth and strategy to the fights. Moreover, environmental interaction allows players to use parts of the scenery to their advantage, adding an extra layer of tactical depth. Whether you're swinging a street lamp or hurling a trash can, every object in the game's urban landscape can become a weapon. Co-op gameplay is another critical aspect, letting players team up as Spider-Man and Venom. This feature not only doubles the fun, but also strategically diversifies the gameplay, as players can combine their characters' unique abilities to take down enemies more effectively. Maximum Carnage also features a red health bar system, which was a neat twist for a recovery and power management. Managing this bar becomes crucial, especially during the more challenging levels and boss fights, which are notorious for their difficulty spikes. So when Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage hit the shelves in September of 1994, it didn't just land. It exploded in a burst of red cartridge glory. In terms of sales, Maximum Carnage quickly swung its way up to the top of the charts, thanks to a strong connection to the Spider-Man franchise and its unique appeal of one of the games to truly integrate a comic book storyline. It found a wide audience. The game sold impressively, particularly in North America, where Spider-Man fans eagerly snapped up copies to see their favorite web-slinger and the menacing Venom team up against Carnage. But Maximum Carnage wasn't just a commercial success. It left a significant cultural footprint. The game is often credited with helping to establish the viability of directly adapting comic book stories into video games, paving the way for countless superhero games that followed. It proved that games could tell a story just as effectively as the comics themselves, respecting the source material while adding a new interactive dimension to the narrative. Critically, the game received a mixed to positive reception. Reviewers praised its faithful adaptation to the comic books and the engaging co-op gameplay, although some criticized it for its repetitive nature and high difficulty level. However, it was the game's ability to bring the comic book to life that truly resonated with players, creating a memorable experience that many still fondly recall. And speaking of memorable, did you know that Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage was not just a feast for the thumbs, but also a treasure trove of comic book and gaming gems? Let's test your knowledge with some quick-fire trivia. Think fast and let's see how deep your fandom runs. First up, Heroic Puzzle. Which superhero duo, known for their contrasting powers of darkness and light, swooped in to assist our main heroes in Maximum Carnage? If you said Cloak and Dagger, you'd be right. Their abilities brought not only a dynamic twist to the storyline, but also a strategic gameplay benefit, making those tough spots a little easier to navigate. Next challenge, Villainous Vibes. There's a lesser-known baddie in the game who can manipulate minds with her hypnotic powers. Can you recall her name? Hint, she's all about those sonic disruptions. The answer? Nailed it if you thought Shriek. Alongside Carnage, her sonic attacks and mind control added a layer of challenge and chaos, making her a formidable foe in this action-packed saga. Next is Console Conundrum. Maximum Carnage painted the town red on not one, but two major gaming platforms during this fierce console wars of the 90s. Can you name both systems where this adventure was unleashed? Think back to those cartridge days. Spot on if you said the Super Nintendo Entertainment System and the Sega Genesis. This release strategy helped ensure that gamers across the console divide could join in on the web-slinging action. And there you have it, a few nuggets of trivia that highlight just how Maximum Carnage managed to blend comic authenticity with innovative gaming. And just like Spider-Man's web runs out when you least expect it, bam! We're at the end of our deep dive into the thrilling universe of Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. We've swung through the highs, brawled through the lows, and unearthed the secrets in the nooks and crannies of New York's pixelated streets. Until next time, keep your controllers charged and your cartridges red. Over and out, fellow retro warriors. If you enjoyed looking back through the history of Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage, click this video here to see more from the Retro Reload. And as always, thank you for watching.